How's it going, everyone? Today we are reviewing The Last Worker for the PlayStation VR2. The Last Worker sees you take the role of Kurt, the very last human worker in the richest company in the world called Youngle. You have a slightly damaged Scouser robot as a best friend called Skew, and each day you have to do a very mediocre and repetitive job. To make this job more interesting, you also have a gravity gun, which is later used throughout the game to solve puzzles and more. The Youngle company and its owner, much to Kurt's disbelief, are not as wholesome as he first thought, and now you must go on an adventure to uncover the dark goings on inside this company. So let's hit the graphics first. The game is well presented throughout, and the graphical style definitely suits the game. It's got a slightly cel-shaded look to it and feels like being inside a book or a comic more than realistic. The voice acting is really good too, and mentions quite the talented voice cast. If you want to look them up, I've placed the link to the game in the description below. The sounds of the game are good, but I can't remember any of the music, unfortunately. Now, from this point in the video, I need to be very clear with you. This is a heavily narrative focused game. If you don't care about the characters, or the plot doesn't grip you, this game may be lost on you. Because without really caring for the story, the next bit of information made the game a real struggle for me, and I'll try to do my best to explain why. Your character Kurt is seated in a flying box collector 98% of the time. You do move here and there outside of it, but when you do, it's simply pushing a wooden stick forward, the world goes black, and it reappears again. Walking is like turning the pages of a book. Apart from that, the entire game is seated, and to interact with the world, you have to use a gravity gun, plus varying attachments that you'll come across. As the story unfolds, you will still have to do your daily job so you don't get fired, and on paper, I can see how this would sound awesome. I remember doing a job in Shenmue on the Dreamcast, and I absolutely loved it.
Unless I tell you otherwise, keep pushing forward.
I also enjoy games like Lawnmower Simulator, but for some reason I had to fight not to fall asleep most of the time playing this. The only things that helped me get through was to do this review, drinking G Fuel, some pretty funny dialogue from the characters, and the odd glitch that my right controller had, which could only be got rid of by restarting the game. As you fly around being spoken at by various characters in the 4 to 5 hours it takes to complete the game, I lost interest quite a few times. I really had to focus to push through the story. The game and its actors try very hard to keep the emotional side engaging, but it simply didn't attach itself to me. And there's even part of the story which should have really pulled at my heartstrings, but the game itself kept pushing me away not to care. This game can also be quite confusing at times, asking you to do something only for nothing to happen until you guess what to do. Or the game just won't work, leaving you frustrated and waiting or restarting. Without spoilers, this is one of the hardest VR game reviews I've ever had to do, because the more I played, the more I realised I didn't want to play it. This just isn't my style of game. The only time I felt engaged was doing puzzles, and to be honest, most of the time the puzzle wasn't even the issue, it was the lack of clarity how to even do it. I believe this game is meant for someone out there, the ones who want story over everything else, but unfortunately it's just not for me, and I feel that is a shame. The game may be exactly what the developers intended. I love VR experiences, which don't always have much interaction. I think ultimately what I'm trying to say is, it's not a bad game, and maybe for flat gamers it's absolutely fine, but it's just not a very good VR game. You guys wanted numbers on this channel for reviews, so I'm going to drop a 4 out of 10. Technically it is okay, and I'm assuming the bugs will be fixed for public release, but aside from a couple of parts that were fun, I found this very tedious to play. And on that bombshell, thank you ever so much for watching this review. If you do pick this game up, please let me know down in the comments. I am very interested to hear everyone else's reviews on release day, because I might be the only one feeling this way. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, and I'll see you on the next video.